Colleen Hoover, the prolific author known for her emotionally charged romance novels that have captivated millions of readers worldwide, is once again at the center of a swirling controversy. Her upcoming thriller, titled Woman Down, has become a lightning rod for debate even before its pages hit bookstore shelves. The novel, which promises a gripping tale of personal turmoil and redemption, has drawn sharp criticism from fans and detractors alike, who see eerie parallels between the story's protagonist and Hoover's own recent real-life experiences. This backlash stems from the tumultuous events surrounding the film adaptation of one of her most famous works, It Ends With Us, which starred actress Blake Lively and became mired in public relations nightmares and accusations of mishandling sensitive themes like domestic violence. At the heart of the story in Woman Down is Petra Rose, a fictional writer who finds herself thrust into the unforgiving spotlight of viral backlash. Petra's life unravels as online outrage escalates, forcing her to seek solace in isolation at a remote lakeside cabin. There, she grapples with the consequences of her actions, the weight of public scrutiny, and the challenge of rebuilding her shattered sense of self. The narrative explores themes of resilience, the dark side of fame, and the psychological toll of internet-fueled shaming. Hoover has described the book as a suspenseful journey into the mind of someone pushed to the brink, blending elements of mystery with deep emotional introspection. But for many observers, this plot hits too close to home, mirroring the author's own ordeal during the promotional cycle for the It Ends With Us movie. To understand the depth of this controversy, it's essential to revisit the chaos that enveloped the It Ends With Us adaptation. Hoover's original novel, published in 2016, follows Lily Bloom, a young woman navigating love, loss, and abuse. It became a massive bestseller, propelled by word-of-mouth recommendations and social media buzz, particularly on platforms like TikTok where BookTok communities dissected its raw portrayal of toxic relationships. When the film rights were acquired, excitement built around Blake Lively's casting as Lily, with Justin Baldoni directing and starring as the complex antagonist Ryle Kincaid. However, what should have been a triumphant moment for Hoover turned into a public relations fiasco. Reports emerged of on-set tensions between Lively and Baldoni, with allegations that Lively had taken creative control, leading to reshoots and edits that altered the film's tone. Critics accused the marketing campaign of glamorizing abuse, pointing to promotional materials that seemed to downplay the story's serious undertones. Hoover herself faced backlash for her perceived silence or inadequate response to these issues, with some fans feeling that she prioritized commercial success over advocacy for survivors of domestic violence. This period of intense scrutiny left Hoover reeling, much like her character Petra. Social media platforms exploded with hashtags calling out the author, accusing her of insensitivity and opportunism. Petitions circulated demanding better representation in adaptations, and online forums dissected every interview and statement Hoover made. The author, who has always maintained a close connection with her readers through personal anecdotes and social media interactions, found herself retreating from the public eye, much as Petra does in the novel. It's this apparent self-insertion that has fueled the current uproar over Woman Down. Critics argue that Hoover is capitalizing on her pain, turning a genuine crisis into a marketable product. One vocal detractor on social media quipped that Hoover is essentially writing herself into fiction, unable to escape the internet's grasp. Another commenter suggested that the book is little more than a thinly veiled autobiography disguised as a thriller, questioning the ethics of profiting from personal controversy. Yet, not all reactions have been negative. Hoover's loyal fanbase, which spans generations and includes readers who credit her books with helping them process their own traumas, has rallied in her defense. They view Woman Down as a brave exploration of timely issues, such as the perils of cancel culture and the mental health struggles faced by public figures. On platforms like Reddit, supporters argue that artists have long drawn from personal experiences to create meaningful work. Think of Taylor Swift's songs inspired by her relationships or Stephen King's horror tales rooted in his fears. One user praised Hoover for her raw honesty, suggesting that turning adversity into art is a form of catharsis, not exploitation. This divide highlights a broader cultural conversation about the boundaries between an author's life and their fiction. In an era where social media blurs the lines between private and public, Hoover's choice to weave elements of her reality into her stories challenges readers to confront their own expectations of authenticity. Hoover's career trajectory provides further context for this debate. Rising from self-publishing obscurity to New York Times bestseller status, she has sold over 20 million books worldwide. Titles like Verity, Ugly Love, and Reminders of Him have established her as a master of twisty plots and heartfelt character development. Her success is often attributed to her ability to tap into universal emotions, making readers feel seen and understood. However, this intimacy with her audience also invites scrutiny. When It Ends With Us was adapted, Hoover was thrust into a Hollywood spotlight she may not have anticipated, amplifying every misstep. The controversy peaked when Lively faced accusations of using her influence to overshadow Baldoni, leading to a fractured promotional tour where the stars avoided joint appearances. Hoover, caught in the crossfire, issued statements emphasizing the book's message of empowerment, but for some, it wasn't enough. As Woman Down approaches its release, the buzz continues to build. Memes depicting Petra as a stand-in for Hoover have gone viral, with thousands of shares across TikTok and Twitter. Debates rage in online book clubs, where participants dissect teaser chapters and speculate on plot twists. Some predict the book will be Hoover's most polarizing yet, potentially alienating casual fans while deepening her bond with diehard supporters. Marketing for the novel has been subdued so far, with Hoover focusing on cryptic teasers that hint at themes of isolation and rebirth. She has avoided direct commentary on the backlash, perhaps learning from past experiences that engaging with critics can fan the flames. This situation raises intriguing questions about the role of controversy in modern publishing. In a market saturated with content, scandal can drive sales, as seen with books like Britney Spears' memoir The Woman in Me, which benefited from pre-release hype tied to her personal revelations. Hoover's detractors accuse her of leaning into this tactic, suggesting Woman Down is a calculated move to reclaim the narrative. Supporters counter that art born from pain is valid, pointing to literary giants like Sylvia Plath or Joan Didion, who channeled personal grief into masterpieces. The novel's lakeside cabin setting evokes a sense of escape, symbolizing a retreat from the digital world's relentless judgment, a metaphor that resonates in today's always-online culture.